right. Make sure everything's good to go. All right. What is good, everybody? This is your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
This is the Courtside View Podcast, and we are back today to discuss the NFL. We are reacting to Week 14. We are getting close to the end of the regular season. It's getting very interesting. It's getting very close, ladies and gentlemen. The standings, as of right now, we have the Detroit Lions are number one in the NFC. And then number two is the Eagles. Number three is they showing the divisions. I don't know why.
Shouldn't it be the Vikings?
No. Remember the standings going off of
Oh, the
the
standings. Oh,
off the divisions. Um, damn, they just showing the division records. That really sucks.
Buccaneers.
Uh, give me 1 second. So Lions, Eagles, Seahawks, Buccaneers, Vikings, Packers,
Seahawks. Man.
and Commanders. That is the NFC playoff picture as of right now, but we still have a few weeks left in the season. Anything can happen. I'll say this right now, the Detroit Lions are winning their division unless the Vikings just so happen to turn it up for whatever reason. But I don't see any team beating the Detroit Lions as of right now. The Philadelphia Eagles, they pretty much have that division. The NFC East, they pretty much have that taken care of as well. Seattle, you never know with the Los Angeles Rams, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If the Atlanta Falcons start Michael Penix Jr., which I highly doubt they will. So I think Tampa pretty much has that locked up. And then you got the wild card teams. All right, let's get down to business. I want to react to the first game on the docket, the Sunday night game, Chiefs versus Chargers. This one, another nail biter by the Kansas City Chiefs. They escaped by another dramatic ending that is very skeptical. It's becoming a recurring theme. It seems like every single week we see something just different that I have to scratch my head when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. The kicker nearly missed the kick, but got very lucky at the end. The Chargers and the Chiefs, 19-17. The Kansas City Chiefs offense wasn't all that great. Patrick Mahomes only had one touchdown. He had over 200 yards passing, but that was pretty much it. Not much offense to go around. Justin Herbert, he had over 200 yards passing, one touchdown. But again, with the lack of pass catchers, there's not much he's going to be able to do. And when you're missing J.K. Dobbins, who is a tremendous running back, you're not going to be able to run the ball very effectively with Gus Edwards as your leading back. And Quentin Johnston made a couple of nice plays. He had a touchdown. He had 5 receptions for 48 yards. Joshua Palmer finally showed up. They were missing Lad McConkey, so that really hurt their chances. But in the end, the Kansas City Chiefs, they win as they always done this entire season. They're 12-1 right now. And Brian, first of all, what was your reaction to the game? And is this a bad sign for the Kansas City Chiefs going into the playoffs?
What I thought about the game, I mean, I knew they was going to win because the Chargers just haven't been able to beat the Chiefs as of late, and the Chargers were missing, like you said, they missed Lad McConkey. They just don't have the offensive weapons as right now. The Chiefs, they got away with the skin of their teeth, and the voodoo black magic came through for them yet again. Kick hit the upright somehow, still flung into the uprights, but whatever. Uh, should the Chiefs be concerned? Yes and no, and I'm gonna tell you why. Yes, I feel like this is a Chiefs team that has looked the most vulnerable they have looked this season. Out of all the years they went to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl, I feel like this is the year where you kind of like, okay, somebody can knock these dudes off. But the reason why they shouldn't be worried is because you have Pat Mahomes, and the Chiefs in the playoffs are just a different beast. and you're getting healthier.
Hmm.
Isaiah Pacheco's is starting to get back into full swing, so you really got that running game you was looking for with that workhorse type running back, and D Hop eventually he'll get more acclimated with the system. Even he's been there for quite a bit, but still it still makes time to build chemistry. So like he didn't have a training camp with Mahomes or anything, so it's all just on the fly as of right now. And yeah, Travis Kelsey hasn't been doing a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of Noah Gray action in the passing game, but I feel like once if they can go into the playoffs healthy, again, I still don't see what team is supposed to beat them because it's still Andy Reid, it's still Steve Spagnuolo, it's still Pat Mahomes. I don't know what team is supposed to knock these guys off, so I don't think they should be worried.
I do think they should incredibly be worried for the simple fact that this offense has been a roller coaster. And when you have a great defense, like the Chargers, they have a really, really good defense and they were able to hold them to 19. If you have a good defense and then you have somewhat of a good offense like the Bills have, I think they could be had. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, depending on certain things, they can give them a run for their money. Um, Baltimore, I got to see it to believe it. But ultimately, I think, like you mentioned, this is the weakest Chiefs team I've seen since they lost to the Patriots back in 2019 playoffs. So it is definitely a concern because normally when teams win like this, they generally lose in the playoffs early. Like they don't go to the Super Bowl. They don't win the Super Bowl. Like this is not a recipe for success. Yes, they're 12-1. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is the best closer in the NFL, but ultimately you have to score points. And the fact that they are not consistently scoring points against good competition is very concerning. And at the end of the day, in the playoffs, how many times can you really count on this defense to come through when it matters most? Last year against the Baltimore Ravens, that defense was incredible, but I just think you can't replicate that in this year's playoffs. I don't think this defense is better than last year's defense. And I think the offenses this year are going to be better than last year. So they'll have home field advantage, but how much can you really count on that? These are still really, really good teams, really, really good offenses. And it's going to be a challenge for the Kansas City Chiefs this year unless they do something about this offense. And they have to make sure that they can protect Patrick Mahomes because it's becoming more apparent that the offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs has been detrimental to this offense and has killed this offense time and time again this year. Ultimately, they've been able to overcome it because Patrick Mahomes is that great. But playoff times, when teams can scheme, when they can game plan against that, they have more time to really game plan against your team because they have a full week to really just look at all the weaknesses, study tape. I just don't see how they shouldn't be worried. They should incredibly be worried because the playoffs are a different beast, as we all know. But we'll see. We'll see about that. The Chargers, on the other hand, I just think at the end of the day, yeah, 8-5, they have over exceeded expectations. Jim Harbaugh has been tremendous for them as a head coach. He has turned around that franchise from a year ago with Brandon Staley. But ultimately, with this offense, you're not going to go very far. I see them if they make the playoffs. I see them as a one and done. I don't think they'll go very far from there. Their defense has been tremendous. It's funny how Brandon Staley is supposed to be a defensive minded coach, but the defense always seemed to be pretty bad. How interesting is that? How ironic is that? But this defense has been tremendous this year. They're one of the better defenses in the NFL. But again, this is not 1995. This is not 2001 where you can lean on your defensive running game. You got to score points in this league, and this is just not a winning formula in the playoffs if they do make it. And that's really all I can really say about the Chargers at this moment. So moving on to the next game, I want to go to the Bills versus the Rams. Now, I didn't expect this game to be that high scoring. I didn't expect the Rams and the Bills to put on a show like they did. Josh Allen had 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns. I don't know if that's the first time in NFL history that's ever happened, but it
It's
was a
the
hell of a
first
performance.
time since Otto Graham did it way back in the day.
It may have been the first time a quarterback has lost putting up those numbers because
It
he had
actually is.
0 turnovers. 0 turnovers is crazy. He was phenomenal this game. But I will say this: I'll say this about Josh Allen and his supporters. People are hypocritical when it comes to Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, because when it comes to Josh
Uh-oh.
Allen, I didn't hear much criticism that he lost, even though he put up amazing numbers. I didn't hear much criticism about him. It was like, oh, the defense, oh, somebody, the coach. But when it's Lamar Jackson, I hear a lot more critics than I do hear about praise. So I'm just saying, like, can we keep that same energy? I see
You know
a
they won't.
few analysts. They like to criticize Lamar, get quick to criticize Lamar, but with Josh Allen, he can't do no wrong. He was amazing. I'm just saying, let's keep that same energy. But ultimately, I will say I am a bit concerned with the Bills defense. I wasn't too high on this Bills defense early on because of the lack of talent. You're starting DeMar Hamlin, for crying out loud. God bless DeMar Hamlin. I'm happy that he's able to play the game that he loves and that he's able to move around and continue to live a daily life, especially after that scare that happened. But this defense can be had depending on the right offense. And that day, the Los Angeles Rams was that right offense. And Matthew Stafford continues to just show why he's in my top 6 QBs in the NFL. He is a tremendous talent to this day. And Puka Nacua, 12 receptions, 162 yards, 1 touchdown. Cooper Kupp was still amazing, 5 receptions, 92 yards. Just what was your thoughts on this game? Any concern for the Bills? And what did you like about the Rams?
The Bills, I do have concerns, especially with, like you said, the defense. The defense, Sean McDermott is a defensive coach, but his defense isn't playing very well against teams that actually have weapons and stuff like that. And it's kind of disappointing because, Josh Allen has these great games and good performances, and the defense just nowhere to be found. And it's like, unless they blowing teams out, the defense looks pretty meh. Like, it's just they have a great offense, mediocre defense. And the Rams just said, okay, we're going to exploit that. We're going to do a whole bunch of motion, a whole bunch of Sean McVay things, and Puka Nacua is just going to abuse you out there. I mean, good grief. This dude, I ain't going to spoil you the salute list, but he may or may not be on it. I don't know. I don't know. But it was crazy. And Matt Stafford, like you said, he was a tactician out there. He was just carving folks, carving that defense up. They couldn't do nothing with it. He was sitting back. They wasn't getting a whole bunch of pressure. And he just sat back there and did what he had to do all day. And really, really, really solid game from the Rams. This is the type of offense that I expected the Rams to be week one. Fortunately, they had injuries and stuff to deal with, but this is what I expected them to be doing earlier in the season. And, it's good that they're doing it now because NFC West race is getting tighter. The 49ers, they still kind of in it, but they looking a little,
They're beat
Debo's a
up.
wide receiver one, for crying out loud. I mean, yeah, it's not looking great for them, even though they whooped up on the Bears. But yeah, man, but the Bills definitely
Bears.
need to be concerned about that defense in the playoffs because you don't want to get into a shootout in the playoffs because literally anything can happen. You don't want to end up in the last person got the ball situation like years before and you don't even get a chance and you lose. So something's got to shake. I don't know what they can do this late into the year to fix it. It's just maybe Josh Allen is going to have to be greater than whatever this defense gives. He's just going to have to be the better side of the ball. But they should be concerned because why is James Cook? It seems like he's kind of getting shut
He's
down as of
regressed.
late. Yeah, it's kind of like he had a good week last week, but this week it was like, ooh, Ty Johnson had more work. That's kind of interesting. You know, they had more production out of their backup running backs than they did James Cook this week. Uh, I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, that's something they need to figure out as well.
Mm. No, you
Khalil
make great
Shakir had a good
points.
game though.
Yeah, you make great points about it. When the thing is that they need James Cook to show up because in the playoffs, running game is very important, and it's pretty much if James Cook doesn't show up, you're going back to the old Bills where Josh Allen had to be Superman, and that's where the turnovers come in. So they're gonna need James Cook. Did Ray Davis is he out for the remainder of the year? Because I'm trying to figure out what happened to Ray Davis because he was playing well for them, and all of a
I don't.
sudden,
He might have been a healthy scratch. I don't know. He ain't get
well
any opportunities.
they need him because he was tremendous for them, and it was like a 1-2 punch him and James Cook. So him not
They
being there,
honestly, they didn't even run the ball that much. I mean,
they
James
did.
Cook only had 6 carries.
They just gave Josh Allen was running the ball more than them. He had 10 carries for 82 yards and 3
Yeah,
touchdowns. So he was the running back for them that game, not James Cook, Curtis Samuel, or Ty Johnson. But yeah, man. I want to speak on the Rams real quick because I have been hearing that don't let the Rams get in the playoffs. They're dangerous. And I will say I don't if I'm the Packers, I don't want to play the Rams in the playoffs. Hey man, I don't care what anybody says. The Rams with Matthew Stafford, when Matthew Stafford has time in that pocket, he is dangerous. I was just watching the game. I was like, damn, this old man, he still got it. The velocity, the arm strength, the ability to throw in tight windows. He got it. Like he's not washed up like Aaron Rodgers or all these other QBs. Like he is still in his prime and playing great football. You don't want to play the Rams in the playoffs. Nobody wants to play the Rams in the playoffs. Detroit, they can go neck and neck with Detroit. They can go neck and neck with the Like, man, I know they lost to the Eagles, but in the playoff setting, you cannot count out the Rams because Sean McVay, he's been there before. Matthew Stafford's been there before. All these guys been there before. So they're not afraid of nobody. And they're going to be really dangerous if they make the playoffs. That's why Seattle, they got to handle their business. Not against us, but against everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
yeah, let's move on with that one.
Speaking of QBs that aren't living up to the standards that's around the same age as Matt Stafford, I want to go to this Falcons and Vikings game
Uh-oh.
because my word, Kirk Cousins looked horrible.
He's
I
been horrible
mean,
these past 4 weeks.
he started off okay. You know, the offense was moving and grooving. You know, Bijan got a couple touchdowns. Kirk still didn't get any passing touchdowns as far as I remember. Let me make sure, double check. Yeah, no
No, he
passing
ain't had no
touchdowns for
passing touchdown. No.
344 yards though. But
Mm-hmm.
man, I don't care what he only 344 yards. He was hooping. No, he was not. That man was turning the ball. He had 2 interceptions, and one of them was egregious. I'm like, who's that supposed to go to? Like it was one interception. He threw it to, I believe it was Byron Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Byron Murphy one-handed it, caught it in stride. I'm like, you was trying to throw him the ball or what? And there was another, I can't remember the other interception he threw, but it was bad too. And I was like, man, at some point, you have to seriously consider putting Penix in the game.
I don't think they're
Like
gonna do it.
you got, I don't care how much money Kirk Cousins is making. You're going to lose the locker room if you continue to strut this man out there. He has no zip on the ball. He's immobile in the pocket. I'm not even sure what he's seeing out there at times. You have to do something. You're going to lose the team, lose the locker room if you continue to trot this clearly injured man. He's not fully recovered. He's 36 years old. You gave him a 4-year contract worth about $180 million. Don't know why you did that. But then you decide to draft the QB and not play him. I don't know what the philosophy is going on. Raheem Morris, you can try to get up in the media, get on the podium saying Kirk Cousins is the guy. He's ready to go. No, he's not. He's clearly not ready to go. He needs to be benched and put Michael Penix in the game. Michael Penix will at least give you a shot.
It'll give you some
I know
juice.
it'll still be rookie mistakes and all of that good stuff, but daggone, at least he can throw the ball.
And he can run. He's mobile.
And, yeah. You know, he's had injury concerns in the past, but you know, so he ain't really doing too much running. But he's more mobile than Kirk Cousins in the pocket. I tell you that much. Now, as far as the Vikings, though, the Vikings, listen, they might be legit. They
I
just
think
might
it
be
boils
legit.
down to Sam Darnold, bro. It boils down to
Sam
Sam Darnold.
Darnold had a phenomenal game.
He
I
did.
mean,
He was
seriously, he was
fantastic.
doing stuff. I've been waiting. I will admit, I've been waiting for Sam Darnold to cool off. I'm like, man, this foolishness ain't gonna go on for much. Like, no, it seems like he's
I mean,
getting better and
he's
better.
been up and down. He's been up and
He's been up
down.
and
Like, let's
down,
not
but
act like.
I thought it would be. I was waiting for the full collapse, but he came out. He said 28
Watch
attempts,
this.
22 completions. Yeah, 347 yards, 5 touchdowns. And I mean, that was a good performance. The Vikings defense, still Vikes defense. What's his name? Brian Flores. He got them boys playing. Is this the Vikings? I'm glad. I'm hoping the Vikings can make some noise. I hope they ain't just a one and done team in the playoffs
Nah, F
because
that.
yeah, I need to see some. I know you probably want them to be one and done, but because you a
Absolutely.
Packers fan, but me,
I
I don't
want
want
them
to
to
see. I want to
lose.
see some like Cinderella stuff go on here.
Get out of
Yep,
here.
yep. We need some
Get
new
out of
faces in
here.
the playoffs. I'm
Absolutely
sick and
not.
tired of the same
Absolutely
three,
not.
four teams every single year.
What, Detroit? Detroit ain't different?
I mean, they count. They count. They count as one of the new
Mm,
ones. But the
mm.
Eagles, I don't want to see them no more. Chiefs, we've seen enough. Ravens, I
Yeah.
mean, I want to see Lamar win, so I'll allow it. Bills, we've seen enough.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm still not sold on Sam Darnold. It is the Falcons. The Falcons are one of them teams, just like with the Cardinals. We're gonna talk about the Cardinals a little bit later, but they're just one of them teams where you don't know what you're gonna get every single week, and their defense hasn't been all that great this year. They've been very rocky. Look at the talent on that defense. It's old. They're either
They did get
old,
4
washed
sacks,
up. Yeah.
and that was
I,
relatively when the game was still close. So
And I felt like the Vikings defense, it wasn't all that great. It's just Kirk Cousins is just awful. He's just so bad. It's like
hey, listen,
we don't really need to do much.
bend but don't break.
Literally, like, man, they don't have to really do much. Kirk Cousins is that bad. But I don't think Michael Penix, he's going to get a start this year. If he would have, it would have been now. They would have announced it today that they were going to start Michael Penix, but it just seems like they're going to ride the wave with Kirk Cousins. Their schedule gets a lot lighter. So they probably believe that, well, the schedule gets a lot lighter. So let's ride the wave with Kirk Cousins until it falls off a cliff, I guess, per se. I guess they want to make sure that they
Be
don't
on
make that
the edge.
mistake. Yeah, so hey, they
In
want
the
to die
last
on that
4 weeks,
decision.
I believe he has thrown 7 interceptions and 0 touchdowns.
I know. I know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. But they want to die on that hill. They want to die on it. So
I'm telling you, it's because of that
I
money.
don't have any sympathy for them. So if they want to do that, continue to do that. My cousin is a Falcons fan, and he wants Kirk Cousins to be benched as much as everybody else wants Kirk Cousins to be benched. But Raheem Morris, I don't know if he made a promise with Kirk Cousins that you're going to be starting the entire year no matter what, but it seems like they're going to live with Kirk Cousins as the quarterback for the immediate future. I don't see Michael Penix coming in because he's a rookie and it's late in the season. We're getting down to the final quarter of the season. I just don't see them doing it, but whatever. Let's go to the Cardinals versus Seahawks. I've never been sold on the Cardinals. I've never been sold on Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, this was one of them games where you have to, if you're a fan of the Cardinals, you have to rethink everything when it comes to Kyler Murray as your quarterback. You look at Kyler Murray and you say to yourself, maybe this is just his ceiling. Maybe this is just who he is. Like, he's never going to be that franchise changing dude that you can build a franchise around and expect to win a lot of games and go to the playoffs and make a big playoff push. I just don't think he's all that good. That's just me. He showed flashes. He fooled a lot of people during the middle of the season. Oh my God. He was like 22 for 24 passing. I think he had like over 200 yards passing. Like, he was very efficient. But I'm like, he's been very mediocre. Like if you look at the stats, if you look at the games, very conservative. He's missing reads. I will say that their offensive coordinator hasn't been doing them any justice at all. The offense is just there's nothing dynamic about it. And Kyler Murray, frankly, he's just not all that consistent. Seeing them at 6-7, I think they were 6-4 at one point or 6-3. They were in the lead for that division at one point, and now they're not even in the lead anymore. Seattle, they have a better record than them. The Rams have a better record than them. They are falling off of a cliff right now. And I expected this. I didn't think that they can sustain this success, especially for the fact that they rely heavily on the running backs for that team. James Conner, that's the only thing they can really do on that team is run the ball effectively with James Conner. Everything else is just abysmal. Like even Trey McBride, like at times he's such an amazing talent, but at times they just seem like they can't get him involved. I just don't understand this team. This team makes no sense to me. Jonathan Gannon, I guess he's just a good coordinator at the end of the day. I don't know if he's a good head coach, but it just seems like a disaster to me. What about you? How do you feel about this game? Seattle, Cardinals, your thoughts?
Yeah, the Seahawks came in and just it kind of just like they just kind of bullied the Cardinals, honestly. It just felt like from the get-go, one team was just more ready to play than the other one. And Zach Charbonnet, you give up 134 yards and 2 touchdowns to the backup running back. Kenneth Walker wasn't even playing. And you just come out, your defense comes out like that and can't stop him. And then like he also had 59 receiving yards, so y'all wasn't even guarding him out the backfield. It's just like, man, what was y'all doing in practice all week? And then Kyler Murray looked terrible out there. I mean, dude, that interception he threw, I was like, what is he looking at? It's
Nothing
just times like this.
but
My problem
ghosts.
with Kyler Murray, it's like he is a great playmaker, but you make him throw from the pocket, you have a good chance to win. Like you don't let him do Kyler Murray things, run around and all this. He looks phenomenal. But when you tell him, hey, we're going to make you play in the pocket, buddy, go make a throw. And it's like, yeah. Now we see some of the issues people had with him early in his career. And people is just, I think we've seen the ceiling for this guy. I mean, I'm sick and tired of waiting on, no, trust me, he's this good. You just gotta. I'm sick and tired of it. He's getting paid all this money and we haven't seen much improvement. I'm gonna be honest, we haven't seen much improvement. You say, okay, he says, give me a weapon. Okay, we get him a weapon. Marvin Harrison Jr. had what, 49 yards? Why is Malcolm Wilson outproducing your number one first round draft pick that you drafted? What, top 5? What's up
Yeah.
with that? And then you got linemen. You got at least you got one old lineman, Paris Johnson. Everybody else is good, but yeah, that defense is horrible too. I don't know, man. It's just if you're a Cardinals fan, you might just have to think like heavily about this future because I don't think Kyler Murray is the answer. I know it's hard to find a franchise QB in this league, but you're paying him $200 million for him to come out and play like this. When are you going to start getting tired of the excuses and finger pointing and stuff?
Right. And you got to remember when he got that contract extension, what did people talk about? The fact that they put in his contract, I think it was like a you had
You
to
got to watch
study,
certain film, yeah.
watch film for a certain amount of hours each day. I've never heard that. I've never heard that when it comes to a contract towards a QB. Like that's the first time I've ever heard something like that. That's just concerning in itself that they put that in his contract. I just, yeah, it just is what it is. Kyler Murray, I just don't think that we will see a better version of Kyler Murray unless he goes to maybe a Shanahan, maybe a Mike McDaniels. Like he's gonna have to go to one of those type of teams in order to really unlock something we haven't seen before. But I just don't think that he has it. He has what it takes to really be a franchise changer that you could really build around. And we're seeing it right now. Seattle, they keep getting better and better week by week. I said this before the season started. I said, hey, we sleeping on Seattle. They're the most slept on team this season. I like a lot of their pieces, and right now they're 8-5. They keep getting better. Geno Smith, he's not turning the ball over. Jackson Smith and Jibba, he's been phenomenal this entire season. I will say, DK Metcalf, what's going on with you? Like, what's going on? It's up and down,
Well,
not much consistency going on. What's going on?
the thing with DK is he has all the physical attributes you would want in a wide receiver, but it's something about him at wide. He just doesn't have it. Like he just doesn't have that number one receiver, superstar wide receiver prowess. Like he's supposed to be like an AJ Brown type receiver, and he's just not. And I'm not sure what exactly it is. It just seems like he just doesn't come up in big moments at times. I don't, but it seems like you can do a lot more with Jackson Smith and Jigba than you can with DK Metcalf. I'll say that much.
I think AJ Brown, number one, he's a better path catcher than DK Metcalf. I think
True.
AJ Brown, he's just better. Like his hands are way better than DK Metcalf. I've seen a lot of moments where DK, they would throw him the ball and he would drop it. So that could be number one. Yeah, you're right. Like it just makes no sense why a guy of his talent isn't one of the 5 best receivers in the NFL. Why are you not as good as AJ Brown, who came from the same school as you, who was your teammate at Ole Miss? It's just weird, man. It's just weird. I don't know what to say about it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just mentality. Maybe he's not putting the work in like an AJ Brown, but it's very disappointing. If you're a Seahawks fan, it's definitely very disappointing that he hasn't. Besides those first 2
You know what?
years in the league, he just hasn't been better than that.
It might be, honestly, I don't like to question people's work ethic and stuff like that, but he may not be serious enough about it. Because if you remember that clip when he was on, I believe he was on Shannon Sharp's podcast, and Shannon Sharp was talking to him about diet and all of that stuff. And then he was like, "No, I'm gonna do it my own way." Oh, well,
Mhm.
screw the NFL Hall of Famer. My bad. I mean,
Mhm.
you eating candy and Skittles and this like, and Ken Shannon Sharp like, yo, you want to have a good career, long career in the back, you got to get your body right, get your nutrition, all that down. You said, "No, I'm gonna do it my way."
Mhm.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like that type of mentality. That ain't like only certain players was able to be great with that mentality. Like Chad Ochocinco, even he got burnt out over time, trying to do things his own way instead of utilizing the nutrition and all of that stuff and take care of your body the way it's supposed to be. So it could be that type of attitude is leaking over into on-field production. Maybe the offensive coordinator is like, "Hey, we want you to do this, that." And he's just like, "Yeah, I don't really want to do that. I just want to run. I just want to do blah blah blah." Could be. We may never
Right.
know.
Right. Um, I want to transition to the Eagles versus Panthers game. The Eagles really lost this game. They were in a nail biter. Jalen
If it
Hurts didn't
wasn't for
play all that
Xavier
well.
Legette, they would have lost.
Man, Saquon Barkley keeps saving Jalen Hurts bacon. Like he keeps putting up numbers after numbers. 20 carries, 124 yards. The Eagles win 22-16. I thought Bryce Young, although he only completed 19 of 34 passes for 191 yards. If you watch the game,
You see
especially late,
drops.
exactly, he was poised. He didn't seem rattled at all when the Eagles, when they were blitzing him. He stood in that pocket and he was accurate. He was delivering that football. It's just guys got to make plays. Xavier Legette got to make plays, and he just couldn't do it. And it was unfortunate because I thought Bryce Young, he was putting it all on the field that game. He was putting it all. And I have to say this about the Panthers, and now I'll let you speak your mind on it. But the Panthers, yes, they are 3-10. But one thing that I will say for a team that is young and that is rebuilding, you want to see some fight from them. You want to see them get better week after week after week. And I will say the Carolina Panthers with Dave Canales as the head coach, ever since Bryce Young has been inserted back into the starting lineup, They have continuously gotten better and better. The team has been competitive. Bryce Young, it seems like the game is starting to slow down. He seems like he's having fun again. He's smiling more. It doesn't seem like he's under duress as much. I like the Carolina Panthers and what's going on right now. Adam Thielen, he's getting the ball more. It just seems like they finally found something going. Something is clicking. It felt like ever since they got rid of Deontay Johnson, something has been
Mm.
clicking. And
Mm.
it's looking really, really good right now for the Carolina Panthers. If you're a Panthers fan, albeit you're 3-10, it's still a lot of question marks to be answered. You got to admit, like there are some good things that you can take from just the past 5-6 weeks ever since Bryce Young has been inserted back in the starting lineup that you should feel very optimistic about. What was your
Yeah.
thoughts on this game, and also like what did you like about the Panthers? And yeah,
Um, what I liked about the Panthers is that what I like about the Panthers throughout the whole season, well, as recently more when Bryce Young started getting back into the lineup, is that this team seems like I know Dave Canales is an offensive minded coach, but he has these dudes ready to play. A lot of times you'll see with these teams that are just flat out bad, they'll just kind of go into the game and they'll just lay down and then just be like, oh, we lost already. But it seems like the Panthers like, no, we can win these games. Like we're gonna come out here, we're gonna compete, we're gonna fight. We're not about to just I don't care if you the Eagles, you were 10-2. I don't care. We still going you still gotta play football on this field. And that's what I realized. Like they was on the road too. So they came and they was giving it to the Eagles, man. That Chuba Hubbard, Bryce Young, the defensive players as well, and they weren't scared of them. And that's what you really want to look for in a team that's rebuilding, that's young, with a few vets on the roster. You really want to see them have that. We don't care who we lining up against mentality. You still got to beat us. And I was impressed with Bryce Young, especially towards the end of the game. He showed me that he's a guy that's going to be in this league and that can succeed in this league because when the game was tight, when he was like, hey, we need to drive Bryce, he put one together. That play, they went 98 yards. They was almost there. They almost put that 98-yard drive together, but drops and all that stuff. Um, yeah, they lost Jonathan Brooks this game too, ACL, which is unfortunate for the young man. He literally just came back from tearing his ACL, tore it again. But yeah, like that
mm-hmm.
play, it was I don't know if it was fourth down or third down, but he was scrambled out. He avoided the safety, threw a strike down the field, kept the drive going. I said, yeah, that's them the type of plays he was making at Alabama that we've been wanting to see these past 2 years from him. So yeah, I was impressed. But as far as the Eagles side, listen, I know you wins matter at the end of the day, but you have got to be concerned with this offense. And more specifically, Jalen Hurts. I mean, this dude, it's like I'm just watching, I'm just baffled. I'm like, there's just no way. You mean to tell me no one's getting open? I don't care what you say. You got AJ Brown or Devonta Smith and Dallas Goddard. Someone's getting open. So something's got to shake. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is gun shy now for whatever. Maybe he doesn't want to turn the ball over like he was earlier in the season. So he started to get a little gun shy and really fell too much into the game manager role because he was looking like Jimmy Garoppolo out there, man. And that's bad. He was missing open dudes. The offense looked inefficient. I mean, you threw for 108 yards for crying out loud. That is insane. That's unexcusable. So I know you got Saquon Barkley, but you relying too much on him as the season goes on. Anything could happen. And I don't know if it's a Kellen Moore thing, but this doesn't even look like a Kellen Moore offense, if you ask me. I've never seen Kellen Moore run some of the stuff that he's been running this year. So it has to be something. And this is all the people that swore up and down Jalen Hurts was elite or something. No. And he's showing exactly why this game showed exactly why he is in the league.
Mm. I will say this about the Eagles. When it gets to playoff time,
Oh,
they
I
have
think they
been
getting bounced.
really. So let me
Oh
let me
yeah.
let me get to you about
Go
this.
ahead, go ahead.
Eagle. So when it gets to playoff time, and that defense you start seeing cracks on that
Like I said,
defense.
when I said last week.
Jalen Hurts gonna have to make some plays Because in the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of good offenses from the NFC. Let's say the Packers play the Eagles. You're going to have to make some plays because the Packers, they're an elite offense. I don't know, man. Like Jalen Hurts, he's one of them dudes. Like he's managing the game. He's been managing the game well since they've been on this win streak. But the playoffs roll around, it's a different beast. You can't be throwing for 108 yards and expect to win only 21 passing attempts and expect to win because teams are going to look at, we're going to load the box on Saquon. We're not going to allow Saquon to beat us. Jalen Hurts, you want to throw this football in the pocket. And I don't think he could do it consistently, albeit I get it. 2 years ago against the Chiefs, but that was 2 years ago. And we saw the previous season what Jalen Hurts looked like. He got exposed. He looked awful last year. And this season, he has done a good job of not turning the football over. And they have won games because of it. But the playoffs is a different beast. And I've seen so many instances where a team has a great regular season, but the playoffs roll around, they get bounced because of their play style, the way that they run their offense. The quarterback is not making enough plays. The defense is not shutting down the opposing team's offense, and they get exposed. And the Eagles, it can happen to him. Why do you think AJ Brown called out the offense after the game? Because he understands that this is not going to work when it comes to the playoffs. They have to get the passing game together because when the playoffs roll around, you cannot be one-dimensional. You cannot just manage the game against these teams, the Vikings, the Packers. You can name any other team. Now, maybe the Commanders will work because Commanders, they're not all that talented. Jaden Daniels, he's a rookie. But all those other teams, the Rams, even the 49ers, if they get a little healthy, you cannot manage the game against these teams. You got to make some plays. And I don't think they can just beat these teams with this performance against the Panthers. And also my final thing, and I want to go back to the Panthers. Not only did they almost beat the Eagles, but they almost beat the Chiefs. I'm just saying that. I'm gonna leave it there. But you have any final words when it comes to this game, or should we move on?
Also Jake Elliott, he might be washed.
Oh yeah, he's washed. He's definitely him and Justin Tucker. Both of them are cooked food. They're washed.
Mm.
But hey, and that's another thing. Kicking. These playoff games, they come down to three, they come down to close. They come close. 3 points here. One possession game. Like this stuff matters. And with the bad kicking, I've seen it cost teams in the playoffs. And the Eagles, it could potentially cost them in the playoffs as well. Trust me, I'm a Packers fan. I've seen it this year. Our kicker cost us a few games. So I already know. I want to go to, let's see if there's any other interesting games we could talk. Real quick, Bears, 49ers. I shouldn't have trusted the damn Bears. That was a huge mistake. 49ers 38-13. It's the Chicago Bears. Like, I'm not really going to take too much on this game. Brock Purdy was sensational. Caleb Williams really couldn't do much this game. It was just a blowout. George Kittle had 151 yards. That's all I really have to say about that game. Not much else to say.
The Bears defense looked horrible. That was one of my concerns when they fired Eberflus. I'm like, well, whoever's the defensive coordinator, are they really going to be able to keep the unit playing at the same level they were? And as we seen, the 49ers are like, nope.
Yeah. Bengals versus Cowboys. We picked the Bengals to win this game. It was a nail biter, but ultimately the Bengals won.
I'm so happy Bengals won.
I bet you are. Rico Dowdle had 131 yards rushing, 18 carries. He was pretty good that game.
And that's what Mike McCarthy did the second half. Continued to not run the ball. That's why he's going to get fired. Doing silly stuff like that. This man was killing them boys on the ground, averaging 6 yards a carry the first half. Then All of a sudden, you say, "Let's throw the ball." For what?
Makes no sense. Jamar Chase continues to have one of the best wide receiver seasons we've seen in a minute. 14 receptions, 177
You really
yards.
should. I wonder what would happen if you ain't make that video. So he called them out and said he was gonna put them on for our watch list. All of a sudden, he saw that video, said, "I understand it now," and now he's been going crazy.
I called him one of the most overrated wide receivers in the NFL. And all of a sudden,
Man,
he like,
that takes
watch
age like
this.
milk. Oh my
He was
goodness.
like, he was like, you said what? Watch this. And now he's going to finish as the leader in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and probably receptions as well. He has
Yeah.
been tremendous this year. It's unfortunate they're not going to be able to make the playoffs because, boy, oh boy, this is one of the best wide receiver seasons I've seen in a minute. And, they also have a good running back in Chase Brown. Joe Burrow continues to put up a lot of good numbers, but, they're 5-8. So not much really to celebrate.
I have a little bit of a controversial wide receiver list
Well,
this
man,
year.
give it right now. What is it?
Okay. One, I ain't want to do it because it's my dog. Jamar Chase is number one as of right now. I
I mean,
know
for this
Justin
season, yeah.
Jefferson. Yeah, this season, it's Justin Jefferson. He just hasn't. Well, Justin Jefferson been getting double and triple teamed all freaking game. But you know what I'm saying? Jamar Chase just been producing more. So it goes Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. 4, I'm gonna go AJ Brown. I'm gonna go AJ Brown. 5,
For this
I'm
season?
going Puka. Yeah. I'm going Puka at
What?
5. Puka, I don't know what it is because he's not much of an athlete. Like
Nah.
he's not the fastest guy out there. He's big, but he's not like the fastest guy. But you cannot stop him, and his hands are glue. Like this man is insane. You could put Nico Collins out there, but CJ Stroud just what a disappointment second season from him. But yeah, man, it's wide receivers have been very interesting this year. Tyreek
Yeah, it's
Hill.
a lot. Yeah. It's been a little disappointing this year. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
A lot of the top wide receivers haven't really been producing too much. Besides the Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, everybody else has been it's been a roller coaster. Jackson Smith and Japa has been
I think
amazing
he's
this
top
season.
5 in receiving yards now, ain't
he? Yeah, he's been absolutely outstanding this year. So
good. This is
and
what I expected from him.
Jerry Jeudy. He has 944 receiving yards.
Yeah.
See what happens when Deshaun Watson isn't your quarterback anymore? Last year it was Amari Cooper. Now this year is Jerry Jeudy. A common theme, right?
Exactly.
Very interesting. Very interesting. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a whole top 10 at the end of the year.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see that. That'll be interesting. I think that'll do it for our reaction for the games. It's not really much else I really want to talk about because all the other games don't really matter too much.
How did you do for predictions this week?
I was wrong, I think, on 4 games because I picked the Bills. I picked the Titans. I picked the Packers, and there was one more game.
I believe you picked the No, that should be it, right?
Oh, so then no, I picked the Bears.
No, you picked the Bears.
So that's 4.
Yeah.
So I was wrong on 4 games, but it is what it is, man.
I believe I was wrong only for 2.
Yeah.
I just had that hunch about that Jags game. I was like, I'm going Jags. That was the gamble inch right there.
Flip. That was like a coin flip.
That was the gamble inch. I was like, ugh.
Both bad teams and one another is a coin flip for me, but I was wrong again. You can't trust Will Levis. So, all right, man, let's go to the salute segment.
Oh, we do.
All right, Brian, who do you want to salute?
Cool. All right, hold on. Let me. I know who I'm going to put on, but I just want to look up some numbers. Get some numbers
all right.
first.
Take your time. Take your time.
Okay, got you. think who was the third member going to be? Oh yeah. Ooh. Okay, yeah. All right.
Here we go.
Wait, actually, hold on.
Uh-oh.
I want to make sure
Change
I'm
your
missing
mind.
some. I don't want to forget anybody. Okay, yeah, we could do that. All right. Salute segment week 14, and we got some new faces on the list. For first on the list, we have Puka Nacua, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams, going against one of the top teams in the AFC, the Buffalo Bills, going out there and getting 12 catches, 162 yards, and topping it off with a touchdown. 13.5 yards a catch. Puka Nacua coming back is looking good as he did last year. 2 on the list, we have a guy that he's not new. He's quite familiar. Jamar Chase. I mean, this dude is sensational. He's wide receiver 1 of the league this year. 14 catches, 177 yards, people, and not 1, but 2 touchdowns. Prime time against the Cowboys in a must-win game. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow stepped up and delivered. And 3, in my opinion, this was the best performance of the weekend as far as the QB position. Sam Darnold, Minnesota Vikings, the perennial backup. People counted him out. They didn't think he could do it this year. But guess what? He said, we're going to Atlanta. We red hot right now, so I got you. Only 6 incompletions, 347 yards. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, but 5 touchdowns. He had them boys firing on all cylinders out there. He just 159 passer rating. Are you kidding me? Hey man, those are my 3 players: Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, and Sam Darnold. Salute.
Good list. Good list. Another week. Did put Josh Allen in there.
You gotta win. You gotta win.
Gotta win. I guess you can only make one exception this year, and it was Jamar Chase. So
I could have put so many other players. What I was really going to do, since Jamar has made it before, I was just going to do the Vikings trio because they both, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, Jordan Addison had 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had 2. They both had 130 some receiving. I was going to put that trio up there, but I was like, yeah, let me not do that. Because people will be like, where is such and such? And I'm like, oh, here we go.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this week's Salute segment. Good job, Brian. Let's transition to the final topic. We are giving our predictions for Thursday Night Football. That is the Rams versus 49ers. I will say this. I got to give Amazon a lot of credit because this season we've had a lot of good Thursday Night Football games because that's normal. That's not the norm. Usually Thursday Night Football, it's a lot of bad matchups, a lot of bad games. But this season has been really good. We've seen so many good moments happen. The Falcons versus Buccaneers game this previous week with the Lions versus the Packers. And now we have the 49ers versus the Rams. I think that's going to be a good game as well as division opponent, division rivals. So for my pick, I'm going to go with the road team. I think the Rams are on the road. I'm gonna go with the Rams this game. They're the healthier team. They seem like they found something. They found a groove, and they have Cooper Kupp. They have Puka Nacua. They seem healthy. Matthew Stafford, he's throwing the ball very effectively. I like the Rams' chances. I'm gonna go with the Rams this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams. The Rams, they did beat them the last time they matched up. Beat them by a field goal, 27-29. I mean 27-24. And it seems like to me the Rams are playing the better football between the two. They just came off a huge win at home against the Bills. San Fran isn't that far from LA, so it's not really like they got to travel that far. So I'm gonna go with the Rams. I just feel like they're the hotter team right now. The 49ers still got some things to work out. Isaac Guerrero played very well, but the Bears and Rams are a completely different team. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bears. I'm gonna go with the Rams. They do have the Niners favored by 2.5 points. That right there is a little sketchy to me because like usually the home team gets 3 points, but only 2.5 favorites at home. Yeah, and also Debo. your wide receiver one cannot be Debo in 2024. I know IU unfortunately got hurt, but it's going to be tough, man, because and especially if Trent Williams doesn't play, Jerry Verse has been very good this year as a rookie. And, they still got Byron Young, Braden Fisk. So they got some dudes on that defense now. But, yeah, I'm going 49. I'm Rams, excuse me.
All right, that'll do it for another episode of the Courtside View Podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the social as well. And we will see you all on the next episode of the Courtside View Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and peace. All right.